Okay, we're going to do this quick demonstration of Teams so that you have a better understanding of how to navigate and to help your child to look through Teams and find work and to collaborate with each other. Teams is a Microsoft product. There are quite a few actual online demonstrations through YouTube and other channels. This is just a quick overview so you can get an idea as to how to navigate and how to help your child. If you have a look through, once they've logged in, and they can log in various ways. I've got currently open the Teams app, which I've downloaded, but they can also get in via Office 365 online. And to do that, they just go Office 365 in Google, sign in. When they sign in, lots of apps become available to them. They can get their email, they can get Word, PowerPoint and Excel as online applications for themselves to use, so they don't have to have those applications actually installed on their device at home and still use it. And one of the other ones is obviously Teams. Once loaded, it looks pretty similar to the app I've got open now. It will say in the top corner who you are and who you logged in as. Apart from that, there is a kind of navigation bar down the left hand side here. I'm just going to look at some of these functions and then some of the functions mainly in the Teams section. So at the moment I'm logged in and I've clicked on Teams. This is actually where you land when you actually come in first of all. These are all my Teams. Your child won't have all of these. What they'll have is a variety of Teams from their actual timetabled lessons. As you can see, as a teacher, I have similar. So I teach Year 7 RHO science, and that's how it's on my timetable and theirs, and so that's how it appears actually on Teams itself. And you can see some of the other classes that I have as well that are actually logged on here as well. If I click onto that team, it takes a couple of seconds. Once it starts to load, you'll see that actually I get the team up on this side now, and I get a link that goes back to that team screen we were just on. But generally what you'll have is you will then have a set of different sections at the top here. The first thing it comes into is posts. So you will then have a posts selection, which I have open here, which I can see lots of people, students' work coming in from. And from that, I can then move into files. In files, teachers will set up and have set up areas to exchange work with pupils. So for instance, I've set mine up so that the students can see each of the lessons I'm going to be delivering. I've got a certain section on here first of all, and then within each folder will be the resources. So it'll be the PowerPoint that I would have shown during the lesson time, and maybe a few other resources that I'd like students to use. The next section is the class notebook. For a class notebook, it is basically a shared notebook between all of us in the class. Only some of the parts of it can actually be seen by students. So each student will see just their section, their part for their name, whereas the teacher will see all sections. So when it actually loads up on here, I can see, I'm not going to show you to see all the names, but it will show all the names when I click on this little arrow here of all the students, and I can go into their work. So they can use this. It's just a blank kind of writing template to start with, but they can set their notes out there and can use it as their book, and I can give them feedback on that if needs be and if that's appropriate. Next one is assignments. Teachers can set and have been setting assignments via this, which is a nice way of packaging up work. It's a way of packaging up work so that you can collect things, files together, excuse me, and class notebooks. So for instance, I can go into this one here that I set up as a demonstration. This is a lesson. It has all the kids' names on it, and it has obviously whether they turned work in or viewed work. I can set feedback to them. For the student gets a view a bit like this. So it has the instructions for the member of staff. It has any reference materials that actually I want them to use, and then it has their work. So in this example, it shows the reference materials, that's the PowerPoint first of all that I talk through on the video that I have there, and the video is of me talking through the PowerPoint and giving gaps where I think they could do some pieces of work and things like that. They are then going to go away for the remainder of that lesson, because the lesson itself was about 25 minutes long, and work on the worksheet, which is shown below. What they can then do is, on their version of this, once they've done this student work piece, they can then upload it again to here. There's a link that normally appears underneath for the student. They can click on that, upload that piece of document back to me, and then on the top right, where I've got a little book at the moment, they'll have a turn in, and they just click that and it'll send it up to me so that I can see what work they've got. So that's the general layout of a class team. The post section, which I did skim over at the start with, is actually quite good as well for us to, as teachers, write down again the explanations as to what's going on. Its assignments pop up in there as well, so that students know they've been set. If there's an online lesson, also it'll pop up there as a meeting request. So it's a good place for students to go in and just go through each of their lessons for that day, just to double check there's nothing in there from the point of view of Teams. Some teachers are obviously setting work via email, so they need to go to their email as well and check that too. Other things they've got, they can see their assignments via the tab on the side here. So if they click on that, what it will ask them to do, and it asks me the same, is to select which class I want to have a look at. So I can then again click on the classes I have, and if I clicked on the Year 7 Science one that I've shown you the team for just a moment ago, what will actually come up is just the assignments for that class that have been done. Now the good thing is it could show you the ones which are current, ones which should have been handed in, and the ones that are late. So as a parent, you can actually see which ones have not been done yet. You can actually see which ones have been given feedback as well if you wish to. Remember, this is all done via the logon of your child. This is not a logon for you at this time. Other things they've got is they have got a calendar. That calendar will show any meetings that they have that are on there. Now it says them as meetings, but actually what they would be is online lessons. So it is again a good way for them to actually find if they've got any online lessons coming up. The other thing is calls. They can use this as a way of talking to friends, colleagues in the same class, and actually to contact maybe members of staff. The preferred way of contacting a member of staff is obviously through the post section or via email, but they can quite easily do a call between themselves and another student, where they can do just a voice call, or they could do a video call to keep in touch. So it's a good way for well-being for them to talk to their friends and for them to interact. The only thing I would say with that is please be careful if they're doing that and they're using their webcams, that things are used properly and that they're supervised when that's happening, if at all possible. The only other things that I can mention to you on here is that there is a chat area. It's not used hugely at the moment, but it is available on there if they wish to, and an activity section. And the activity section is just the things which are happening within all the other of those sections I've mentioned today in a list. So you'll know when new things happen. So when someone's put a new post for me, it'll appear in that activities. If somebody has uploaded some work for me, it'll appear back in that activities. If a member of staff has fed back and I'm in a shared class with them, for instance, it will give me information. So as a parent, your child can look at that activity as a quick way of seeing if there's been any further updates to anything they've handed in or any work that needs to be done too. So that's Teams as it is. It is a very good tool and it's a very easy tool to use. The main area again for them to be using is the Teams section first of all, and within the Teams going to each of their classes actually in turn when they go through. I did actually want to highlight as well while I'm here, there are on mine obviously lots of teams, but if I scroll down you'll see that there's some teams a bit further down for well-being, and so there's one per each of the year groups for well-being, and it is worthwhile your son or daughter actually going into those depending on which year group they're in, they'll have rights to go into whichever one, because that's a good way of their head of year contacting them and discussing things with them. So it is a good way for them to keep in touch and to still get that pastoral care. Thank you very much.